Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good morning to Madam Zarina and all of our fellow classmates. Welcome to our forum presentation entitled Seeing the Future Through Self-Efficacy, Hope and Optimism. Now, before we start, let's talk a bit about the future. It's kind of scary, isn't it? Because of how unpredictable our future is. A lot of times we think and stress about our own future. Will it go the way we wanted? Or will it take another turn like we didn't expect at all? Especially since the COVID-19 pandemic have hit us in 2020, most of us have been questioning about our future a lot, no matter what age or what social status that we have. Even for us students, not only we're thinking about how the world is going to adapt with this unknown ending pandemic, we are also constantly worrying about our studies and how we are going to face the outside world once we graduated. Consider that we've been studying online, we've lacked our face-to-face interaction, so that means our social skills may not have been, um, however, throughout facing the uncertainty of the future, we have been using these three components in psychology without or with us realizing it. What are the three components? I've stated in the table if you guys are paying attention. Yes, you guessed it right. The three component is self-efficacy, optimism, and hope. So today we are going to discuss in depth about these three components and see how are these three musketeers we call could keep us believing in our future. So today we have our four amazing panels. The first one is Miss Anati, Miss Sabrina, Miss Fatin, and Miss Farah. And they will give us more insights about these three future temporal perspectives in positive psychology. So audience, if you have any questions throughout this forum presentation, feel free to type your questions in the comments. Without further ado, let's start our forum presentation. So I would like to know more about self-efficacy first. So let's start with that. Miss Anati, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, moderator. I'm good today. I hope you're doing well too.
Okay, great. Oh yeah, I'm doing good too. I think you can see from my tone today. I think I'm very enthusiastic today. So thank you for asking how well I am. So let's get right to the first question. What is the definition of self-efficacy and how is it developed? Do we have full control over building our self-efficacy or are there any external factors that could influence its development? So the stage is yours, Miss Anati.
Thank you, moderator. Hello, everyone. Assalamualaikum and good morning. So before we start directly to the question, so let's just a moment here. So could you all think of a moment in your life when your beliefs in your ability to do something does not match what others told you or what others thought of you, especially on how you could do or about what you could not do. So it shows that our beliefs in our own abilities plays an important role in how we approach certain goals in life. So these essential beliefs in the ability to succeed is what we call self-efficacy. And according to the father of the concept of self-efficacy himself, which is Albert Bandura, he defines self-efficacy as the people's belief in their capabilities to produce desired effect by their own action. And he also mentioned that these beliefs as a determinants of how we think, we feel, and also by how we behave. For example, we are going to have a midterm test, or we already had a midterm test, right? So you yourself know your ability. And what I mean is like, you know that you are not good at certain subjects. For example, you are not good at statistics. So, but you believe in your own ability that you can learn the subject well, so that you can succeed by getting a better result for the test. So that is an example of people with high self-efficacy. So if you're wondering of how this self-efficacy can be developed, according to Bandura, he said that individuals can develop their self-efficacy belief from four main sources of influence. First and foremost is the mastery experience. Mastery experience is the experience that we gain when we take on new challenges and we succeed that challenges. So I would say that people who succeed after overcoming a lot of difficulties before this will build a strong sense of self-belief efficacy. The second point that Bandura mentioned is about the vicarious experience. Vicarious experience can be influenced by witnessing other people success or witnessing other complete the task successfully. So for example, if you are joining a marathon, a running marathon, and then of course you at like the last point, you must feel so tired and you already like deciding on giving up. But by seeing others around you run toward the finish line, you can actually it motivates yourself to believe that if they could do it, why can't I, right? So in that way, by seeing others, we can also like influence our self-efficacy. And for the third one is the social persuasion. By social persuasion, it shows that people could also be persuaded to believe in their skills and ability to succeed. For example, like when someone said something positive and very encouraging words to you, that it eventually helps you to achieve your goals. And for the last one is by psychological responses. For psychological responses, it is like our moods, our emotional states, our physical reactions, and also our stress levels, as this all can impact on how a person could feel about their personal abilities. And by learning how to minimize our stress and elevate our mood in facing this difficult task, this can also help to improve our sense of self-efficacy. So this shows that we have the full control to build our self-efficacy, as it is based on our own ability, our beliefs, and also our effort to do so. But I would say that external factors would also give an important influence in developing self-efficacy, especially through modeling. By modeling, this is because like we tend to learn by simply watching others, right? For example, like the people close around us, our family, our parents, our friends, and even our teachers or like our siblings. And they show like a role model to us. And by having a role model, it is also important in building our self-efficacy. These role models are those like who we follow and that teach us to become a better person or to motivate us in achieving our goals. That's all my answer for question one.
Thank you so much, Miss Anati, for explaining about self-efficacy really well. So from Miss Anati's point, we have gathered that the definition of self-efficacy is basically people's beliefs in their capabilities to produce desired effects by your own actions. This means that how you have belief that you could actually achieve something that you want to do by your own. So when Miss Anati asked the first question about our belief in ability to do something that outweighed what anyone else have told us, when she asked about that example, I could actually manage to think some of my own instances. So I think that means I have self-efficacy. I think is this true, Miss Anati?
Of course, everyone has the self-efficacy if we
Oh,
practice it.
okay. Okay, that makes me feel better because at least now I know I have self-efficacy. So back to the forum. There are four, like Miss Anat said, there are four main source of influences. The first one is the master experiences. The second one is vigorous experiences. The third one is social persuasion, and the fourth one is the psychological response. So this means it made me realize how there are actually many factors that could influence our self-efficacy. However, beside having full control of our own self-efficacy, like Ms. Anati mentioned just now, we also need to be aware of all these, external factors so we could manage them. We should be careful not to get these factors negatively influence our self-efficacy? So thank you again, Miss Anati, for the answer. So let's move on to the next topic about optimism. So Miss Sabrina, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Okay, amazing. So let's the first question for Hope. What is the brief definition of optimism as a whole, and what is the difference between learned optimism and dispositional optimism? How are these two types of optimism different from each other?
Okay, thank you, moderator, for the question. So there are two questions from the moderator, which is what is optimism and the differences between the learned optimism and dispositional optimism. So we will go through one by one. So first of all, we need to know what is actually optimism. So optimism is a positive mental state marked by hope and confidence in one's ability to succeed and have a bright future. So optimism is when someone feels that everything that is going to happen will be good, even though they know about the challenges that they might get through. They still feel motivated and positive to do it. So they are expecting good things to happen and they are responsible to make it happen. So in general, optimism is linked to resilience in the face of stress. Optimists are motivated to re-engage in goal pursuit and make more active attempts to respond to challenges because they see the possibility of positive outcomes. So there are two theories in optimism, which I said before, which is learned optimism and dispositional optimism. So we go through for the first one, the first theory, which is learned optimism. What is actually learned optimism? So learned optimism is the act of recognizing and addressing gloomy thoughts in order to build more positive behaviors. So this psychological idea tries to assist people in discovering new methods to deal with difficult situations and increase their overall well-being. So positive psychology, a discipline of psychology created by Dr. Martin Seligman, coined the term learned optimism. So Dr. Seligman contrasts learned optimism with learned helplessness, a cognitive pattern in which a person feels powerless to overcome unpleasant situations. So you can't change the circumstance if you have learned helplessness, while you may not always be able to change your situation with thought optimism. You can always modify how you respond to it. So practicing learned optimism can help people in any scenario. So because the nation focuses on how you grasp the root of your problems, it may be applied to a wide range of situations. So there are three types of explanatory style under this learned optimism, which is permanence, pervasiveness, and also personalization. So what is actually these three types of explanatory style? So the first one, personalization, is like you think that can you attribute an unpleasant incident to an external cause instead of blaming it on yourself? So the permanence is like, can you make improvements for the future instead of thinking the terrible incident will affect you indefinitely? The pervasiveness is, can you identify it as a single event rather than believing that one terrible occurrence will have an impact on all other events? So I want you to see this more clear. So that, for example, I will give you. So for personal, you will feel that one person just not in the mood if they are not talking or engaged with you. So for permanent, the example is there are going to be plenty of people in school will like me. So lastly, for pervasive, you will think that if someone does not like you, it was just one isolated situation. Okay, that is for learned optimism. We go for the dispositional optimism. So dispositional optimism is a belief that future outcomes will be beneficial and positive. This is a trait that promotes resilience when people face with stress and adversity in life. It is a psychological theory of optimism, and researchers have operationalized trait characteristic to be able to evaluate optimism and pessimism. The life orientation test lot scale used to measure the original definition of optimism developed within a theoretical system. Also, there is improvement made, which is lot has been revised, which known as lot R. Lot R has demonstrated superior ability to predict a variety of outcome markers associated with superior coping. So higher Lot R scores, for example, have been linked to greater recovery from coronary bypass surgery, dealing more effectively with AIDS, and many more. Whether or not you are optimistic can depend on your genetic predisposition. Trait characteristic in genetic modeling confirms that optimism and pessimism are inherited as independent traits. These heritable traits can predict your intelligent temperaments and even predisposition to alcoholism later in life. So the early childhood experiences that establish trust and stable relationships to parental figures as a source of optimism. So on the nature side, parents play a role in developing optimism, whereas childhood events can cause a child to lose hope for the future. Some experts believe that children born into lower socioeconomic families are more likely to experience stress and bad emotional state as adults. Even if their financial condition improves in adulthood, these children may continue to predict the worst since they have been proven correct. So after my explanation, do you think you are an optimistic or pessimistic? So I hope this explanation will clarify you a bit about optimism. So back to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Miss Sabrina. Wow, what a very elaborated explanation. I think from your question, I think I am more of to the optimistic side. I think that's what I heard from my friends, but I don't know actually what's inside here. Okay, thank you so much. So to conclude, there is actually a difference between the learned optimism and dispositional optimism. Where for learned optimism, it's basically something that you can learn by observing other people. It is the act of recognizing and addressing gloomy thoughts in order to build more positive behaviors. So that means you can um, assist your mind to think about the developing of positive behaviors. Whereas for this positional optimism is the belief that future outcomes will be beneficial and positive. But for dispositional optimism is something that is inherited. It's your trait. So basically from here we have gathered that even if you are not born with optimism trait, you can still learn it, you can still develop it through learn optimism. And also if you are born with this trait, optimistic trait, it is still needs to be developed. So your childhood or your process of growing up is also an important part in helping you to develop your optimistic trait. Thank you so much again, Miss Sabrina. So we've done with self-efficacy and hope. So hope, I'm so sorry, optimism. So let's go to the next topic, which is hope. Let's ask Miss Fatin. Miss Fatin, have you had your breakfast?
Yeah, I have a breakfast. Thank you for asking. How about you,
So
moderator?
that means you have some energy to answer your question. Can you tell us
Yeah.
about the definition of hope and explain about hope theory?
Okay, thank you, moderator, for the answer and for the question. Assalamualaikum and good morning to Madam Zarina and fellow friends. So for the first question, what is hope? So hope is goal-oriented thinking in which the person use pathway and agency thinking. So it is a goal-directed thinking to achieve the goal. Either we use the pathway thinking or the agency thinking. And then the next step, the next question is a hope theory. So the hope theory comprised of different elements. So the first element is hope thought, comprised of pathway thinking and agency thinking. Number two is set of emotion, either positive emotion or negative emotion. The third one is value, either you high value or you have low value. And then the last one is the stressor. So let's take a look at the components. So the first component is hope thought. So what is it? So it's refer to the etiology of the pathway and the agency thinking from our previous experience. Either we are able to achieve the goal or we are unable to achieve the goal. So it's kind of give a clue to us to the next strategy for us to achieve the goal. So the next component is side of emotion. So it is how a person bring the emotion toward the goal. So, and for each person, they possess different emotion toward the goal. So like take an example for the high hoppers person. So like they are very enthusiastic in achieving the goal. So they possess the positive emotion and then they have a sense of zest to achieve the goal. So they will work very effectively to achieve the goal. Meanwhile, for the low hoppers person, they do not feel like they are very confident in achieving the goal. So they have a very negative emotion and lack of enthusiasm in achieving the goal. So in conclusion, we can understand that high hoppers person are able to adapt well to the problem compared to the negative hoppers, compared to the low hoppers person. And then the next component is the value. So a sufficient value must be attached to a goal perceived before individual continue to the hoping process. And then this value happen at the pre-event processes. And then the perception toward the perception of people is the key to the next phase, which is the event sequence phases that comprises as pathway and then the agency thinking. So the pathway and the agency thinking then will check whether the value are sufficient enough to go to the next step. And if it does not sufficient enough, it will channel back toward the value, which is the pre-event process. For example, like if you possess, if you have very high value in your education, for your education, so you will try to do as much as you can do to achieve the goal. So you must have high value for you to be able to achieve the goal. And then let's move on to the next component, which is stressor. So in order for you to achieve the goal, you may encounter a stressor. And then it is can be understood as something that hindering you to achieve the something. And here, people perception toward the stressor is also different. Let's take an example, like for the high hoppers person, they will perceive that the stressor is a barrier and a challenges that need to be overcome. So they will feel like more passionate to solve the problem, either using by agency thinking or by the pathway thinking. Like for the agency thinking, they use kind of sort of motivation. And then for the pathway thinking, they find the alternate route if the first pathway is blocked. And then in comparison to what happened with the low hoppers person. So for the low hoppers person, they perceive the stressor as a blockage that will bring down their emotion toward the goal. And this will result in negative emotion. So from here, we can understand that emotion play a role in influencing pathway and agency thinking to pass toward the goal. And then the lastly is the goal. Either we are able to achieve the goal or we're not able after we have done through the several components. Either if we are able to have a high value and then positive emotion and then we're able to overcome the stressor, then we're able to achieve the goal. And here the emotion also play a role. And this emotion, either positive or negative, will be channeled back toward the first component, which is the hope thought, that will give us toward for the next, the other processes. And this theory is a feed forward and feedback function. I think that's all from me. Back to you, moderator.
Thank you, Ms. Fatin, for the explanation. Amazing. So to conclude, we have two types of thinking that uses pathway or agency thinking for hope. And also for hope theory, there are four important components. The first one is hope thought. The second one is emotion set. The third one is values. And the fourth one is stressor. So for me personally, the component that I agree with the most is value, because like Ms. Fatih said, a sufficient value must be attached to the goal pursuit. You must have what do you call that, value to put together with your hope for you to continue in the hoping process. Like for example, I value education so much and I wanted to achieve to achieve good results. So I need to hold on to the loving education value to keep hoping that I will get good results despite whatever challenges that might come through. Is that correct, Ms. Fatin? Did I interpret it right?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, good to know. So now we have known about the definition. Let's dig more into the development of hope. So I would like to shoot this question to Ms. Farah, our last panel. So Ms. Farah, how are you feeling today?
I'm perfectly fine, thank you.
Okay, good. So how is hope developed? And does human relationships have any connection with our developmental of hope since our childhood days?
All right, so there are two questions. The first one is, how is hope developed? I'll answer the first one. Okay, so Cinder proposes that hope has no heredity contributions. However, it is entirely a learned cognitive set about goal-directed thinking. The pathway and agency thinking, which already mentioned by Fatin before, are learned through the inherent part of parenting, and the component part of hopeful thought are in place in a child by age 2. So, how did a child learn pathway thinking? So they learn it through a basic cause and effect learning that they gain from caregivers and others. For example, babies learn when they cry, they will be fed or comforted. So crying is the causes, and the effect is they will be fed or comforted. Meanwhile, agency thought reflects the baby's increasing insights as to the fact that they are the causal force in many of the cause and effect sequences in their surrounding environment. And then the next question is, does human relationship have any connection with our development of hope since childhood? Yes, human relationship does have a connection with our development of hope since childhood. Cinder again proposed that a strong attachment to caregivers is crucial to pass on hope or imparting hope. And there are quite amount of researchers with the consistent findings on this speculation. Parents who are securely attached themselves also have a children who have higher in hope. And then traumatic events such as abuse and what else? Loss of parents across the course of childhood also have been linked to the lessening of hope. In addition, research has found that even in the case of trauma, high hope individuals are less susceptible to depression and other negative psychological consequences as compared to those lower in hope. In a nutshell, hope is contagious. So, meaning that when children are around adults who radiate or give out hope, they will benefit from learning to be hopeful as well. I think I answer all the questions. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ms. Farah, for your explanation. So from her points, we have gathered that hope is actually not an inheritable trait. However, it is a learned cognitive set, which means that the surrounding of the child is very crucial in helping the child in developing hope. So, which is why human relationship has a connection with the developmental of hope because the child learns from their surrounding, which is also explained why traumatic events like Miss Farah mentioned just now, or abuse or loss of parents have been linked to the lessening of hope because throughout the growing up process, the hope of the child is influenced by their surroundings. So thank you so much again, Miss Farah, for your explanation. And thank you, panels, for the answer. I hope everyone in here has gained some input, which I know I did, and it's the end of slot 1. I know, it has been an interesting slot, but don't worry, we have the second slot coming through. But first, let's take a 5 before we enter the next slot. Now sit back, sip perseverance, and enjoy this video that we are going to present. Wow, I don't know how about you guys, but for me, I kind of get emotional watching the video because I think most of us who have siblings maybe can relate to it. I think it's a normal feeling. Feeling is inevitable since we live with them for so long, so we can really help the negative feeling. But um, like video portrait, shouldn't get those negative feeling piled up and get the best of us, get hold to us until it, jeopardize the relationship between us and our siblings. So I hope for anyone out there who, have some negative feelings towards their siblings, I hope in the future you guys can resolve it. I mean. And for those who have, like happy and positive relationship with their siblings, I hope you guys get to kekalikan those relationships. And yeah, we have 1 minute left. Maybe you guys can reflect back from this video. And also, if you guys cannot see the video like clearly or have net problems, I already gave the link of the video in this chat box, so you guys can just watch it again if you guys want to. Because I personally think it's a cute video and an emotional one. So we have like 30 seconds left before we finish, before we start back with our forum, our second slot of the forum. So the panels can, drink, get ready for the second slot. I think I want to drink too. Okay, so yeah, we're going to start the forum in a little bit. Let me drink first. Okay, are the panels ready? Okay, okay, so we are going to start with second slot. Bismillah. Welcome back to our forum and welcome to our second slot, where there will be some open questions asked and we can listen to the panels discuss among themselves. Okay, before we start, going back to our title, which mentions the future, there will be some time in our life where it's just hard to actually see if we even have a future or even planning it. For example, when we talk about COVID-19, we can't help but to think, is there even any future for us in these trying times? Will we be able to get our normal lives back? And let's say if we couldn't and we have to live and adapt like this forever, will we be able to adapt and walk towards our future the way we have planned or the way we wanted? These kinds of questions, when we overthink about it, sometimes they can bring us down, or even worse, could create the feeling of giving up. So, from the help of the panels, if they have some answers to these questions, how can we see our future with the help of self-efficacy, optimism, and hope? How big of an influence these three components have on helping people to see if there is even any things to look forward to in life instead of just giving up? So, panels, feel free to discuss the question.
Thank you for moderator for the question. So let me answer the question on behalf of a hope perspective. So as I mentioned in the first session, what is hope? So hope is a goal-directed thinking. So it is a goal. So we can understand the goal from three different things. So the first one is goal can be very either short-term goal or long-term goal. So what is a short-term goal? So short-term goal, for example, like you have a goal that you want to finish the assignment at the end of this weekend. So it is considered as a short-term goal. And then for a long-term goal, like for example, like you want to get a good result during your degree, for you to be able to get a good occupation later in your later life at the age of 35, for example, be a doctor. And then the second one is goal is approach oriented, either aiming towards or stopping undesired goal. So it is a goal to get something. So you aiming toward your goal. For example, like you want to striving for your excellent performance. And then in terms of undesired goal, for example, you get backlash from your friends because of your poor result. So you want to undesired that kind of goal. So you will be more confident, and then you will study more hard to increase your performance in the class. And then the next one is the difficulty in attaining the goal. Either it is very hard or it is easy, and it depends to the individual. And then as I already mentioned before, like the hope is because there has two pathways. It is the agency thinking and then the pathway thinking. So let me elaborate more for you to get more a better understanding regarding this. So what is pathway thinking? So pathway thinking is for you to find alternate route if the original way got blocked. So for example, if plan A did not work out, then I have another plan. I have plan B, plan C, plan D, and so on. Like for example, there is a situation where there is a boy that he wants to achieve straight A during SPM, but during the trial, they failed the examination. So for the people with the pathway thinking, they will not be affected with this result. So they have positive emotion here. So he did not affected at all with the result. In fact, he finds another way to achieve toward the goal. And then he came with a conclusion that his time management is strong, his study style is strong. So he came up with a new timetable. And then he came out with a 10 break minutes for each session for him to be able to achieve the goal. So there is the example of pathway thinking. And then the next one is agency thinking. So agency thinking endorse personal agency focused self-talk. For example, like motivational quote, motivational speech, and so on. So for example, like you feel like, I am able to do this. I am able, like you motivate yourself that you are able to do it, to give you kind of sort of hope to achieve the goal. Like for example, we take the same example like the both situation are just there, but this boy with the agency thinking, like he used inner feeling to achieve toward the goal. For example, like he motivate themselves by see any speech, any motivational speech, and then they paste motivational quote on their study table, and then it can give us a sort of stimulus for he to be able to achieve the goal. So can you spot the differences? Pathway, you find the alternate way. Meanwhile, the agency, you motivate yourself to achieve the goal. I think that's all from me. So this kind of hope will give you a future. I think that's all from me, but I do want to know from the perspective of optimism. Miss Sabrina, do you have the answer for this? Hands to you, Miss Sabrina.
Thank you, Miss Fatin. I'm quite agree with your explanation of hope, which is agency thinking and pathway thinking. Am I right? I think that kind of give me motivation to do better in the future, because like frequently I use agency thinking in motivates me every day to do work, since I procrastinate like every day, every time. So like reading quotes that can help me in reaching my goal. So that is from your view. So I try to explain from optimism perspective. So as we know that optimism is a positive thing that can help us in doing better for our future. So how this can help in the future? So optimists value daily pressures more than pessimists do in terms of possible growth and tension reduction. Moreover, optimists are more likely to accept their fate when confronted with truly unmanageable circumstances. And optimist knows when to give up and when to keep going, whereas a pessimist persists in pursuing a goal even when it is not the best course of action. So positive thinking does not imply that you are oblivious to the stresses of life. You simply handle pressure in a more productive manner. So constructing an optimistic vision of life allows one to have a rich interpersonal world despite hardship, reduces feelings of sadness or depression and anxiety, extends longevity, creates closer relationship with others, and gives a coping skill during difficult times, especially during this pandemic. So being optimistic make it easier to deal with stressful events, in my opinion, which decreases the negative health effects of stress. For example, now we are facing with COVID-19. So what we can do now that we can't diminish these viruses, but what we can do is being optimistic about the future. So optimistic does not mean you just believe everything will went well, but you need to do something like following SOP, do a checkup whenever you feel sick. That is what we call as realistic optimism. So you keep going and believe that good things will happen even though you know that might be some challenges you need to face along the journey. So that is my view of optimism, which can help in the future. Maybe Ms. Farah has something to add from the hope perspective.
Thank you, Miss Sabrina. All right, since Miss Fatin already explained to us how hope can be helpful to individual in achieving their desired goals, I would like to touch on collective hope. So basically, collective hope reflects the level of goal-directed thinking of a large group of people, and it is operative when several people join together to tackle a goal that would be impossible for any one person. So we need teamwork here. The closest example that I could think of is the situation that we are in, which is pandemic COVID-19. So before vaccination, we were anxious every day, thinking that what if we won't step outside the house again? Are we to live like this forever? Then the vaccine happened to protect us against the COVID-19. However, However, it is still unsafe if only one person take the vaccination. So in order to achieve the goal, which is to live freely, we need to achieve herd immunity. So achieving herd immunity is the collective hope. It must involve a large group of people to achieve the goal. Malaysia targets for 80% of the adult population to be fully vaccinated to achieve herd immunity for adults against COVID-19. To meet this collective hope or collective goal, Malaysians need to be responsible in getting their COVID-19 vaccination. And also, the health policymaker already increased the vaccination rate per day, and they imply a rule which is only the fully vaccinated are allowed to dine in, regardless of which phase of the national state recovery plan their state is in. And then this collective hope requires the clear conceptualization of the goal, which is to achieve herd immunity. And the pathway thinking is the capacities to reach the goal by increasing the vaccination rate per day. And finally, the agency thinking is the ability to initiate and sustain the motivation. Probably by the freedom to dine in would be the motivation to achieve the goal. And I think I covered enough for collective hope. I would like to hear the other view from self-efficacy, especially to Miss Anati. Shall we?
Thank you, Miss Farah. Okay, since every panel already state their opinions regarding to all those three components, now let's look back to self-efficacy. So back to the meaning of self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is actually the person's belief in his or her ability to succeed in a particular situation. So what I can say that self-efficacy is indeed a major influence on our thoughts, emotions, and also our actions, and especially in our motivation. So it also plays a crucial role in shaping our perception of life experiences. And since all the panels give an example about the current situation, which is the COVID-19, so I would like to share to you all about the recent study conducted in early 2021, like the early start of the COVID-19, right, at that time. So this study is mainly about the current issue, of course, about the COVID-19. So the goal of this study is to actually know how that the COVID-19 had disturbed and influenced people goal setting and also the self-efficacy belief in the early lockdown phase. Do you remember at that time when we start our online class, like our motivational level, like very dropping low at that time because we are still preparing ourselves for the online phase, right? So by this study, the result has shown that the people remain focused on their goals. They still remain focused and they react positively towards the studies by still working towards achieving their goal. So this shows us that despite the rough time we go through and despite the difficult time we have gone through, whether people be losing their jobs, like suddenly becoming sick, which is like the COVID-19, and then and we even struggling for our online class, right? So, but we all still manage to have the ability to encourage ourselves to move forwards and go through that difficult time. So in this kind of situation, I believe that that's when optimism and hope comes along. And that is what the point that our other panels had shared before this. So for like what has mentioned by Miss Sabrina before about optimism. So in this kind of situation, people start to be optimistic in believing about the good things rather than the bad things will happen, even though we need to go through that difficult time first, right? So at this time also, people also start to hope that this difficult time will end soon. In other words, I would say that hope doesn't mean that we take for granted that everything will work out, but instead, hope is a mindset that helps us towards reaching our goals. So we don't simply believe that good things will happen, but however, we believe that our actions can bring out the good things that we want. So what I can say is that self-efficacy does help us in our future, especially in believing ourselves and our own ability to achieve what we want in life. And I also agree that these three components, which is the self-efficacy, hope, and optimism, must work together. And because these three components together is a big of an influence on helping people to see there are things to look forward to in life. And if you are still wondering, or if you are still like thinking about these three components, is it helpful or not in your future? Like, is it really helpful? So I want to share a quote by the famous founder of Ford Motor Company, which is Henry Ford himself. He said that whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you are right. You are right. So this shows that our success or our failure is based on ourselves, because it is based on our belief and our effort to do what we want to do and our attitude to achieve that goal. So today I encourage you and myself to start loving ourselves and to be kind to ourselves, so that we can build our self-efficacy and prove to ourselves that we can. Back to you, moderator. Thank you.
Wow, what a great closing for the discussion. Thank you so much, panels, for the answer. So we can give some reflection to for ourselves after this session by hearing Miss Anati's question about whether these three components have actually helped us in holding on for the future. So to conclude, these three components does have influence in helping us seeing our future. By the first one for self-efficacy, because we remain optimistic and we are confident in our abilities in the future. So even when things become difficult, we know that we can overcome it. So that's why it can help us to see through the future. And as for optimism, because optimistic people, they would likely to accept the fate when challenges come, because they will overcome those challenges as a in a productive manner. And also for the hopeful people, they will see this life in a goal directed manner, goal oriented thinking, so they have something to look forward to in the future. So basically that's how briefly how these three components could help us see if we have our future or not. So thank you again so much to the panels for the answer. And let's get right to the next question. So does the definition of self-efficacy, optimism, and hope differs between cultures? Are there any differences of these three components in that many different cultures in this world, whether it is genders or religion or countries? Is there any? So back to you guys, panels, to discuss this question.
Thank you again, moderator. So let's get back to the question, which is so I will state on my opinion regarding to self-efficacy first. So the question is like, does self-efficacy differ between culture? So I would say that the answer is yes. Self-efficacy is indeed different between cultures. So the first point that I would like to share is in terms of the gender. Is it there are some research that I want to share to you guys, which have said that the self-efficacy differ in terms of gender. The first study was conducted in the US population, and it found that women were found to have higher self-efficacy in language art, whereas men had higher self-efficacy than women in areas of study such as math, social sciences, and also computer sciences. So in Malaysia, there is also a study conducted by Mahyudin in 2006 with his colleague. They study about the relationship of students' self-efficacy and their English language achievement. So it is found that from that study, it is found that the girls have higher self-efficacy in English language compared to the boys. And to support that statement, from the previous study also found that girls are found to exhibit higher self-efficacy in the areas related to language, because they said that generally language is associated with feminine orientation, and most students view writing as domain for the girls. However, other studies has also found that genders may not be the determining factor, but instead they said that the factor is because of the gender roles, which have been the main influence. So according to Huffman in 2013, he discovered that regardless of gender, masculinity is the influence. So the masculinity that has been predicted, whether the self-efficacy for the areas of technology. So this study suggests that men or women with more masculine gender roles traits have better self-efficacy in the technology, whereas those with less masculinity have lower self-efficacy in the same field, which is the technology field. So other than that, it has also been said that there are differences of self-efficacy in terms of culture in Asian culture and Western culture. And according to Kim and Park in 2006, they had discovered that their participants in the United States evaluate their abilities as high, although they did poorly in the topics such as maths and science. But for the other participants from Japanese and Korean students, on the other hand, they evaluated their abilities as low, although they have high level of achievement on the difficult math test. So this demonstrates that different countries or like different culture have different levels of the self-efficacy. I think that is the point for self-efficacy. So Miss Sabrina, how is optimism differ between culture? What is your opinion on that?
Thank you, Miss Anati, for explaining to us about the differences in self-efficacy between cultures. So in a view of optimism, I can't say yes or no yet. So I will explain a bit before we get to a conclusion. So across cultures, there are research that say that culture-driven conceptualization of the self may alter the link between optimism and subjective well-being. So individualist or independent views of the self as a free person responsible for his or her own objectives and success are common in Western cultures. So more attention is paid to characteristics of one's personality that distinguish oneself from others. So East Asian societies favor a collectivist or interdependent view of the self as intimately connected to others, like social harmony, conformity, and prioritizing the demands of one social groups over personal needs are valued more highly. So in individualist cultures, person-related characteristics such as self-esteem are more predictive of subject well-being than in collectivist cultures. So as a result, Western societies may have a stronger association between optimism and subjective well-being than East Asian cultures. To make you clear that I can relate to us, so I give you an example that is from Islam perspective. From Islamic perspective. So in Islam, we believe that life is just a temporary for us to be scared of. So we become optimists because of our belief, which is as long as we are doing good deeds, everything good will come to us. If not here, maybe in afterlife. However, I'm not saying that Islam is the perfect religion to explain about optimism. So I have another explanation, which is from Christianity view. I have asked one of my friends, which is Christian, and you may correct me if I'm wrong about this. But she said that in Christian, the most important thing is faith. To them Christian, they always have faith in their God. So in the Bible, she said to me that everyone who believes in him will not perish but gain eternal life. So she thinks this is one of the reasons how they Christian are able to keep being optimistic, because they know that they will have a better life and a better future as long as they keep their faith and trust. So they keep their faith strong by reading the Bible, pray, and going to church, etc. So they also think that this world is temporary, and one day they will go back to their Father in heaven. So I think the differences between Western and Asian maybe have a slightly differences, but from Islam and Christian, I think there is not much difference about optimism within these two religions, because we being optimistic by the trust, belief, and our faith. So that's my opinion regarding the differences of optimism within the cultures. So maybe Ms. Fatin has something to add on from the hope views. Is there any differences between cultures?
Thank you, Ms. Sabrina. Okay, so to answer your question, yes, hope does vary in different cultures. So in a study conducted by Chang and Bang 2007, it shows that the agentic and pathway thinking is differ between the majority and the minority group. So the study shows that the minority group have higher score in agentic and pathway thinking rather than the minority group, because due to the obstacle faced by the minority group, such as discrimination or racism, which result in them to possess higher hope compared to the majority group. And next, in Latino and white sample, higher hope individuals were less likely to have suicidal behavior, but not in African American or Asian American. So we can understand that people that possess hope, either high or low, will give a predictor to suicidal behavior than hopelessness. Then I would like to touch a bit from the perspective of Islamic view. So in Islamic view, we have the concept of hope and fear, or we can understand as raja and khawf. So what is hope? So in Islamic view, hope is like you hope for mercy of Allah. Meanwhile, fear is you fear of punishment from Allah. So let give an analogy of a bird. So a bird, the head represent the love. So the love toward the Allah. And then a bird have a wings. So the wings represent the fear and hope. So in order for you to love Allah, the both wings must be function well. So for the bird to be able to fly normally. Like for example, if one wing is did not function well, so the bird cannot fly normally. So in this term, hope. So for the people who possess higher hope, that have high hope in Allah rather than fear, so they will be too much optimistic that Allah will forgive them for the sin. It's like, it's okay if I do this kind of thing because Allah will forgive me. Like they have too much hope that Allah will forgive them. So they are being like very overconfident with their good deeds. And people will be in the comfort zone with their ibadah. Okay. And then the next one is fear. Like you have too much fear to Allah. So when you have too much fear for the punishment of Allah, you will feel so hopelessness that you feel like, no, I'm not going to try to do anything because at the end of the day, I'm going to be judged by the Allah. So this is not correct way, like the way of Islam is teach us. So in Islam, we have to have hope and fear in a balanced way. So it must be a balance. So for you to be more understand, let me relate this hope and fear in Islamic view with the hope theory that I already mentioned before. So like in a hope theory, like they have a different component like the pathway, the agency, the value, and then the emotion. Like so, for example, like we set a goal, like we want to perform 5 days of a prayer in a day, and then the pathway is like from the previous experience, like we are not able to perform a full 5 day of prayer. So the pathway is we find the alternate way for us to be able to achieve the goal. For example, like we sleep early or we set the time clock for us to be able to perform the salah. And then the agency, like we listen to the motivational talk from the ustad or from the ustazah for us to be like reprimand us about our duty as a Muslim. And then the emotion must be positive. Like if you want to achieve your goal, you must be very high emotive and positive emotion. And then the value here, the religion is the main value. And then this is the concept of how and Razak will be implemented here. So if you have a very high in level of house and Razak, which is fear and hope, so then you will be able to use the agency thinking and the pathway thinking for you to be able to achieve the goal. And then, but we may face a stressor. So like the stressor, like you want to perform a salah, but you know, there is some kind of stressor that hinder us from achieving the goal. For example, like we watch too much movie or the users of gadget. So that kind of thing is the stressor. But if we were able to overcome that, and then we are able to achieve the goal, and then we get the result, like we're able to perform 5 days of salah a day. And then this kind of emotion will bring back to the first component, which is the hope thought. So we learn from our hope, like either we achieve the goal or not, for us to perform to the next channel and next pathway, because this hope theory is feed forward and feedback. So it's not a sequentially. So I think that's all from my perspective in terms of research, and then I touch from the Islamic perspective because I do not have any much understanding to the other religions. So I present to you only on behalf of Islamic behavior. But I want to ask Miss Farah, because you also in the same perspective as me. So we like to ask something. Hands to you, Miss Farah.
All right, thank you, Miss Fatin. Actually, indeed, true hope should be coupled with action. And in Islamic tradition, it should likewise be accompanied by fear and complete reliance on God, just like what Ms. Fatin already explained. If we trust in God and rely on Him, we will not be very overly concerned about the unpredictable future. I guess my kind of view is exactly the same like Miss Fatin, and I would proceed to the next one, which is hope model, which has been investigated in a diverse population and found the predictors of hope and its factors of pathway and agency might vary between racial or ethnic groups. Just to recall back, agency thinking is the requisite motivations to use those routes which are from the pathway thinking. And according to study by Cheng and Bang in 2007, life satisfaction was the strongest predictor of agentic thinking for European American, but it had no significant predictive power toward agentic thinking in the Asian American portion of the sample. Furthermore, in Latinos in Chang and Bang sample, rational problem solving was the strongest predictor of agentic thinking. This construct was not significantly predictive of this trait in European Americans. And last but not least, positive affect was the strongest predictor of agentic thinking in Asian American, but it was not significant predictor for Latinos or European Americans. So from all the study that has been conducted, you can see that yes, actually every culture they view hope in different way, just like what I've been mentioned. I think I explained a lot, and back to you, moderator.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much for the thank you so much, panelists, for the insightful discussion. So from the discussion, we have seen that there are actually a lot of differences between cultures in these three components. And also, I would like to, touch a bit about fear and hope. I think for us, Muslim students, we should incorporate this knowledge in the psychological field because, yeah, I think it's very helpful. And the way Miss Fatin related to the hope theory, that means that hope and fear concept is very relevant to relate in the psychological field. So thank you so much again, panelists. Okay, now how about we review back what we have learned from this forum and play a game. So grab your phone, everyone, and let's play some Kahoot. So Miss Anati can share screen and show the game to us. So everyone get ready with your phone and, exercise your fingers to, click the answers very, very fast. Okay, here's the code. So take a look at the code in the screen and into the code and let's play the game. Okay, we're waiting for some players. Let's go, guys. Oh, we have Natasha. We have Paul. We have Aina. Come on, guys. We have 42 people around here. Let's get at least, 20 people or something. Okay, we have more people coming. Okay, keep it going, guys. Keep it going. Okay, we have more coming in. Wow, a lot of some people are using their initials. Who is S? Who is A? We have Pika coming in. Thank you, madam, for the feedback. Okay, we have T, we have Z. Wah, kita boleh buat huruf ni. Faz. From the initial. Okay, let's keep it coming, guys. We have 19 people now. Let's get more people coming in. We have AZ. Oh, is this some kind of, vaccine? Anyone wants to, enter the nickname as Pfizer? What else? I forgot already. AstraZeneca, Pfizer. What's the third common one? I forgot. Can anyone tell me? I forgot.
Sinovac.
Sinovac. Okay. Anyone else? I'm sorry. Anyone else wants to, put Sinovac as your nickname? Oh, we have J and J. Wow, what a cool name. We have SD. Oh, is this, we're coming into statistic tech? We have SD. What else? SD is study division, right? We have some knowledge stuff from class. Okay, let's keep it coming. We have kimchi. Oh, 안녕하세요. We have kimchi with us. We have. What a nice name. Are you sleepy? Let's not be sleepy yet. Let's play a game first, and then you can sleep after class. We have more people. Let's wait until a few minutes to give more people to come in, because you know some might have internet connection problems or anything. We have 23 people now. Let's reach at least 30 and let's wait until around 12:26 and then we start again. We still have 2 minutes to let people coming in. Anyone else need some time to, enter the game? You can let us know in the comments so we can wait for you. One, is this it? Let's wait a bit more. So we have 24. Wow, we have no new gamers coming in. This LOI. So we have more people coming in. Yay! Thank you so much, guys. We have Ragu. Hi Ragu, welcome. Sikit lagi guys, sikit lagi. Let's get ready, okay? Let's see if you guys are paying attention in the forum or not. This is where we will see. This will refresh our memory of the forum. So we have 26 people now. We will wait 1 minute more. If any one of you needs some time, do let us know in the comments. Hey, we have 27 people now. Yay, we have Fiora with us. Oh, we have Mark. Mark Lee from NCT. Is that you? Okay, we have Mark in here. Let's reach 30 if we can. Okay, 2 more people, guys. Let's push this number. Okay, 28. Two more person if you can. Okay, it's 2026 now, so I think we can start. Oh, we have another one coming. Let's wait until 30. Panels, do you want to wait until 30 or we can start now?
I think we can start now if everyone agree.
Okay. Okay, Madam also says start, so let's start now. So get ready everyone and let's see who will get the Kahoot throne. Okay, the first question coming in, get ready. Okay, so people's belief in their capabilities to produce desired effects by their own action was defined by. Okay, remember guys, who gave this definition? Wow, we have so many answers coming in. 19 answers from now. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's see if you guys got it right. Wow, mostly got it right. Congratulations. It is Albert Bandura. Okay, let's go to the next question. Oh, a lot of people answered Martin Seligman. It's actually for optimism. Oh, no. It's for hope. It's hope. I'm sorry, fellas. Right. Oh, optimism. Okay, sorry. Okay, I was right in the first place. It was optimism. Sorry, my memory was playing with me. Sorry. Okay, we have Shahira at the first place. Congratulations. Keep it up. Okay, the second question. According to Bandura, individuals can develop their self-efficacy beliefs from how many sources of influence? Ding, ding, ding. Refresh your memory, everyone. Review what Miss Anati has explained about self-efficacy. Okay, let's see the answer. Four. There are four inputs. A lot of people answer three. It's okay, guys. It's okay.
Yeah, it's actually four, guys. Do you remember what are the four main influence that Albert Bandura has stated? The first one is mastery experience. The second one is vicarious experience. And the third one is social persuasion. And lastly is the psychological responses. Okay, so there are four. Okay.
Okay, remember, guys. Remember, okay, there are four influences. Thank you, Miss Anati, for clearing that up. Now let's go to the next question. Ooh, Miss Khalida and Miss Sabrina is, is catching up to Shahira. So Shahira, you better keep up with your good work, or else you will be, nak caras position tu oleh Khalida or maybe Sabrina. So let's go to the next question. Which sounds like an optimistic person? So I stood up. The second one is I have done better on my previous exam. Not doing well at other subjects. The fourth one is I have done outing. So which one is it? Remember, optimistic person believes there will be good things in the future. Okay, most of you got it right. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, let's go to the next question. Ooh, we still have Miss Shahira in the first place. Impressive. Okay, the next question is true or false, so you guys can get ready. Is it 3 theories or is it other number? What? Let's reveal the answer. Jeng jeng, false. Oh, almost. Wow. 15 and 13%. Hampir separuh ya.
There are
Okay,
two
okay.
theories only in optimism, which is learned optimism and also dispositional optimism. There are no trees, okay?
It's okay, guys. It's okay. Wow, we still have Shahira. You're killing it today. Wow, MVP. Okay, the fifth question. The perceived capacity to find roads to desired goals refer to. Remember, guys, find roads. The clue is road. That is the clue. That is the keyword. Yes, most of you got it correct. Congratulations. It's pathway thinking. Okay, the next question. Oh, we have coming into the second place. Good job. Okay, then the sixth question. Hope is a goal-directed thinking in which the person uses. Okay, this has been mentioned by Miss Fatin. There are two types of, thinking in a hope concept. Which one is it? I think she has mentioned it a lot of times with Miss Farah. So, yes, it's true. Pathway thinking and agency thinking. Congratulations to the 10 people who got it correct. So let's see if the ranking stays the same or other people has replaced Miss Shahira's. Oh, Miss Shahira is still at the first place. Wow. Wow, amazing. Oh, we have Miss Anis as the third place. High hopers interpreted stresses as a challenge that will help to explore other routes to achieve desired goals. Is this true or false? Remember, high hopers will have positive thinking instead of negative thinking about the challenges, about the stresses. Wow, most of you get correct. Congratulations. Wow, Miss Shahira, you are on fire today. Wow. Wow. Next question. Is it still true or false? Collective hope reflects the combinations of hope from your past and the present. Is this true? No. Let's see. Collective hope. We will reveal the answer in 3, 2, 1. It's false because collective hope evolves in a community, isn't it?
Yeah, collective hope reflects a large group of people combined together, make a teamwork. It's not from your past and the present. But it's okay, you guys did great.
Thank you, Miss Farah, for the explanation. Oh, we have the okay, the third place. We have Khalida. Congratulations. The second place is Miss Anis, and the first one, of course, Miss Drumroll, Miss Shah. Wow, congratulations. You were killing it. You got 7 out of 8. And the runners up we have S and Vika. Congratulations. Thank you so much for putting your thoughts in answering the Kahoot questions. Thank you. Okay, so thank you everyone for participating in the game. And let's move on to the next session, which is the session. Now, we are open to answer questions from the audience. Feel free to open your mic if you have any questions to ask, or you can type in the comments. Now, let's see if we have any questions from the audience. You guys have any? You can just open your mic if you want to, or you can just type. Wow! Congratulations, the winner of the Kahoot! So Madam said she will take note on the winner and give 2 mark saving. Wow! I should have entered the game too, We should have entered the game too, so we could get 2 mark saving, but congratulations to the winners. Okay, so do we have any questions from the audience? Anything? Just ask. Come on, guys. Maybe just one question. If Madam wants to ask any questions too, you can ask away.
I have a question.
Great. Okay, ask away.
People tend to have high expectation on certain people, like people expect us to achieve like high achievement in exam or in anything in our life. So what is the best element between hope, optimism, self-efficacy and so on, to help us to coping with the others' expectation to us, so that we don't stress on the expectation?
You are muted.
Okay, we'll need a little bit time to discuss the answer between the panels. Siapa?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, because some of us didn't
Yeah.
catch the question.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. My question is, people tend to have high expectation to us, like high expectation for us to achieve like flying result or to get a better job. So between that four aspects, between self-efficacy, optimism, hope, and others, what is the best aspect to help us coping with the high expectation from people? So that's all my question.
Panel, are you okay?
Yeah, we do. We are we are thinking of the answers currently.
Maybe in optimism view, I can say that if someone is expecting something from us, that is the challenges that we need to encounter. So optimism is you see that as a positive thing to work towards it. So so in my opinion, if the expectation of people is the one that motivates us to do better in the future, even though there is a challenges in front of us. So that's my point of view. So other panels have something to add?
For me, in terms of self-efficacy, you said that how how do we cope like from the high expectation from others kan? I mean like of course, especially like sometimes from our parents, they like they want us to achieve something, and then sometimes that we know our limit, right? We know our own limit. Okay, so from my point of view on self-efficacy, it start from belief. What I can say that if someone have high expectation on you, don't feel sad or don't feel like you don't have like unmotivated if someone said something bad about you. Instead, take that take that, for example, if your parents want you to score A for a certain subject, but you don't get that A, so use that failure of that subject to motivate you to achieve that A. So this is also based on your self-efficacy. If you have that high self-efficacy, of course that you have the effort and you have the belief, oh, I can do this. So if you said you can, that will help you to think that, oh, I can do it. So that is self-efficacy. So I hope that motivate you to go forward and achieve your goals. Thank you.
I would like to ask in behalf of hope. I think that actually all three components play a big role. Like for example, like you have high expectation, right? So like if they have high expectation from you, what's your emotion regarding that? Did you perceive as a positive or do you perceive as negative? So that's kind of value will help you to achieve the goal. And then in achieving the goal, you must believe that you are able to get the result. So that is self-efficacy. Like I can do this. People have high expectation for me because they think that I'm capable to do. So it is self-efficacy. And then in terms of optimism, I think like you are very optimistic in whatever things that you are doing. So I think like the self-efficacy, like you have belief in yourself and then you're optimistic that you are able to do so. And it kind of gives sort of hope for you to achieve the goal. But you have to possess high positive emotion, not the negative emotion. If you possess negative emotion, it will block you to achieve toward the goal. So I hope it does answering your question, Miss Fatiha. Is it I'm answering your question?
Yes, thank you for the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Well, if I can say something, Fatiha, your question was about how to manage people's high expectation on us. Am I right? Is it?
Yes, doctor.
Right. So basically, before we consider others' expectation, we need to look at ourselves first. We need to know our efficacy, and that is why it is important for you to understand what is efficacy. What others think of us may be important, but what most important is what we think of ourselves. So that is my, you know, my advice to everyone, including myself. So regardless of what others expect from us, sometimes, you know, maybe for you now, the expectation are coming from your parents and you know, friends, but when you go to employment sector, you know, the expectation are coming from many more people, your colleagues, your boss, and so on. Am I right? And on, and the list are never ending. So what I would say, sometimes it is not that much of importance for us to meet others' expectation, but what more important for us to meet our expectation on ourselves. Okay, so basically, and hope and optimism, I think, play a role lah. If we feel bad, if we feel down, if we experience negative emotion, of course, we may not be able to move on from one place to another, from the place of sad emotion to happy emotion, and so on. All right. Okay, that is my way of giving you opinion on that. I hope it's helpful.
Thank you so much, panels and madam, for your answers. I hope that we, can help in answering Fatiha's if there is questions. We have done with the forum slots, the game, and the Q&A session. With that, our presentation has come to an end, and we hope that this forum could give everyone in here an inspiration to have some self-efficacy, optimism, and hope, because everyone deserves to dream about their future. So with that, thank you so much, and Group 1 signing out. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.